The story begins with a retired secret agent named Clay living a quiet life, suddenly standing alone against a powerful and dangerous mafia network. Clay was not an ordinary man. He was a member of a highly classified special forces unit known as the Beehive. This was not a group the public had ever heard of. They handled missions so sensitive that even other government departments were kept in the dark. When a problem was too dangerous, too secret, or too dirty, the Beehive was sent in. But that life was behind him now. After leaving the Beehive, Clay chose to disappear from the world of violence. He became a simple beekeeper, living a quiet and honest life. He rented a small garage from an elderly woman named Mrs. Parker and turned it into a bee farm, collecting honey and selling it locally. Mrs. Parker was a retired schoolteacher. She lived alone and spent her time working for a charity organization that helped women and children in need. Renting out her garage to Clay made her genuinely happy. He was polite, kind, and respectful. To her, Clay felt like family. One evening, after work, Mrs. Parker invited Clay over for dinner. Later that night, as she worked on her laptop, a sudden warning popped up on the screen. A message claimed that her hard drive was infected with a dangerous virus and that all her data would be deleted unless she acted immediately. A phone number flashed on the screen, offering help. Panicked and confused, Mrs. Parker called the number. She had no idea that her call went straight to a professional cybercrime gang. These criminals pretended to be an antivirus company, targeting innocent people and draining their bank accounts. The moment Mrs. Parker called, the hackers remotely accessed her computer. They could now see everything: her files, her personal information, and most importantly, her bank details. Mrs. Parker didn't understand what was happening. Windows began opening on their own and strange commands appeared on the screen. On the phone, a man named Garnett calmly explained that this was all part of the virus removal process. He spoke confidently, using technical words she didn't understand. Then, he asked for her bank account information. Trusting him, she gave it. Moments later, she noticed something shocking. A deposit of $0 appeared in her account. Her eyes widened in confusion. Garnett quickly explained that he had made a mistake and accidentally sent $0 instead of $500. He politely asked her to return the amount. Without realizing the trap, Mrs. Parker entered her password and transferred the money back. Within seconds, her entire bank account was wiped clean. Not only were her life savings gone, but every dollar belonging to the charity organization had vanished too. The criminals had stolen everything, over $70 million in total. Mrs. Parker's world collapsed. Meanwhile, Clay had collected fresh honey from his bees and poured it into a glass jar. He planned to give it to Mrs. Parker as a small gift. That night, when he arrived at her house for dinner, something felt wrong. The silence was heavy. The air felt cold. Carefully, Clay picked up a knife from the kitchen and stepped into the living room. What he saw froze him in place. Mrs. Parker was dead. A gun lay on the floor near her chair. Before Clay could even react, an FBI agent stormed in with her weapon drawn. Her name was Verona. Hands up! Verona immediately suspected Clay, and the situation became even more painful when the truth came out. Mrs. Parker was her mother. Without hesitation, Verona called the police. The house was sealed, searched, and Clay was taken in for questioning. Even in her grief, Verona refused to let the case rest. She began investigating on her own. As she searched through her mother's records, she discovered that every bank account had been drained. That's when it became clear. Mrs. Parker had been trapped by cybercriminals. Her death wasn't murder. She simply couldn't survive the shock of losing everything she had worked for. Clay was released. The next day, Verona visited him. She apologized for blaming him and explained everything she had uncovered. She told him about the cybercrime gang, how they disguised themselves as antivirus support, and how the FBI had been chasing them for years without success. That was the moment Clay made a decision. He contacted the Beekeepers. He promised himself that Mrs. Parker would get justice. The Beekeepers moved fast. Within a short time, they uncovered the operation behind the scam. The company was called UDG, and Garnett was one of its key managers. Not long after, Clay arrived at UDG's headquarters carrying 2 gasoline cans. He neutralized the security guards with ease and walked straight into the control room. Inside, he interrogated the employees. When one man resisted, he beat him brutally, punch after punch after punch. He warned all of them. If they ever stole from innocent people again, there would be consequences. Then he ordered everyone out and poured gasoline over the computers. Garnett and his men rushed in to stop him, but Clay destroyed them effortlessly. He planted a bomb and told Garnett to leave if he valued his life. Seconds later, a phone rang, and then an explosion. The entire headquarters was reduced to ashes. Garnett barely escaped and immediately called Danforth, reporting that a man called the Beekeeper had wiped them out. Furious, Danforth ordered Garnett to assemble a team and kill Clay. The next day, while Clay worked on his bee farm, Garnett and his men found his location. They destroyed his hives, crushing everything Clay had built. Then they attacked. But Clay was ready. One by one, he eliminated them all. He spared Garnett, cutting off his fingers and letting him run. Later, Verona arrived at the burned garage and found UDG ID among the bodies. She finally understood. Clay was behind it all. Garnett reported his failure to Danforth, but before the call ended, Clay appeared. He tied Garnett to his car and drove straight into the water, killing him. Taking Garnett's phone, Clay warned Danforth that he was coming. As Verona and her partner searched government databases, they found nothing on Clay. That could only mean one thing. He belonged to a secret organization even the FBI didn't know about. Soon after, Garnett's body was recovered. Danforth turned to Wallace, a former CIA operative. Danforth's mother had just become the President of the United States, and Wallace was assigned to protect him. Wallace contacted CIA Director Janet, who confirmed Clay's identity, a retired beekeeper. Wallace ordered Clay's execution. Janet assigned Anna, another beekeeper, to kill him. At a gas station, Anna ambushed Clay with gunfire, but Clay fought back. He killed her brutally, cutting off her fingers and setting her on fire. The gas station exploded. After this, the beekeepers informed the CIA that they would no longer pursue Clay. The CIA backed off as well. Now, Wallace was on his own. He assembled a special forces team and labeled Clay a rogue agent who had to be stopped at any cost. When Verona later arrived at the destroyed gas station, she found Anna's burned body. It was clear she was part of a secret organization, but Verona still didn't know why Anna had tried to kill Clay. Meanwhile, Clay used Anna's severed fingers to access her home and hack her computer. He tracked Garnett's phone signal. Very soon, Clay managed to trace Danforth's exact location. Once he had that, he returned to Anna's house and collected everything he needed: guns, explosives, and bombs. This was no longer just revenge. This was the final mission. At the same time, Wallace's Special Forces unit had already reached Danforth's building. Their goal was clear: kill Clay the moment he appeared. Outside the building, a full SWAT team was deployed. They were certain Clay would attack. But inside, Wallace ordered the staff to continue working as if nothing was wrong. This building was home to NSU, another fraudulent company just like UDG, stealing money from innocent people. Not long after, Clay arrived. Without wasting a single second, he attacked the SWAT team outside. His movements were fast, brutal, and precise. One by one, trained officers went down. None of them could stand against him. Clay entered the building and blended in with the employees like a ghost. But it didn't last long. A Special Forces member recognized him. The moment the alarm went off, bullets started flying. The building turned into a war zone. Yet Clay moved through the chaos with terrifying control. Using his training, he eliminated every officer who came in his way. Soon, Clay reached Rico, NSU's manager. He grabbed him and demanded the truth. Who owns this company? Rico was shaking, terrified. He tried to scare Clay by saying the owner was too powerful, someone untouchable by law. Clay didn't hesitate. There is no one powerful enough to hide from me. Clay made it clear, anyone who destroyed innocent lives would not be spared. Left with no choice, Rico finally revealed the name. At that exact moment, Verona and her team stormed in, weapons raised. Once again, Clay escaped. Shortly after, Verona and Matt uncovered the full truth. UDG, NSU, every one of these scam companies had a single owner, Danforth, the son of the President of the United States. Now Verona realized something even more dangerous. Clay wasn't just threatening Danforth, the President herself was in danger. The news reached Deputy Director Prigg, who immediately ordered Verona and Matt to capture Clay alive. Security around the President and her family was tightened. The very next day, Verona and Matt arrived with Secret Service agents. The President and her son were hosting a charity event at their beachside estate. Despite all the security, Wallace was uneasy. He knew Clay was coming. That's when Wallace called in a special team of elite fighters led by a man named Lazarus. Lazarus proudly claimed he had once killed a beekeeper before, losing his leg in the process. Meanwhile, Clay had already infiltrated the area. Using a drainage tunnel hiding beneath a truck, he slipped into Danforth's estate. He silently eliminated a SWAT officer, planted bombs in every security vehicle, and altered his appearance. Minutes later, he was walking among the guests like he belonged there. Elsewhere, Prigg informed President Jessica of the truth. Her son was behind the fraud. Even her election campaign had been funded with stolen money. Jessica was furious. At the same time, Verona spotted Clay in the crowd. She ordered the team to arrest him. Surrounded at gunpoint, Clay dropped to his knees. But this was part of the plan. In that exact moment, the bombs detonated. Security vehicles exploded. Chaos erupted. Clay attacked, fighting his way toward Danforth. Inside the building, Jessica decided to expose her son publicly. The truth had to come out. Clay smashed through Wallace's men, crushing everyone in his path. He reached the main hall where Lazarus confronted him. The fight was savage and brutal, but Clay won. As he moved toward the president's office, Wallace stood in his way, begging him not to kill Danforth. Clay answered by breaking Wallace's fingers. Inside the office, Danforth was losing control. Cornered, exposed, desperate, he snapped. He pulled out a gun and shot Prigg. Moments later, Clay blasted through the door. Verona and FBI agents followed him in. Danforth panicked. In his desperation, he grabbed his own mother, President Jessica, and held her hostage. Verona pleaded with Clay not to harm them. Clay looked at her and asked one simple question. What matters more to you, the law or justice for innocent people? Without hesitation, Clay shot Danforth, saving Jessica's life. He shattered a window and escaped. Verona could have shot him, she had the chance. But she didn't. She chose justice over the law. Clay's mission was complete. He reached the beach, put on the scuba gear he had hidden earlier, and disappeared into the ocean. And with that, the story comes to an end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe.